Fans, this should be one heck of a big man contest right here. You got old arch rivals here, Fidel Sierrra and Rastaman. They're going to be going at it here on IPW Weekly Recap. We've seen these guys tear each other apart over the years here, but each and every time they seem to bring out something different and bring out the vicious side in each other, Ron.
You go to IPW-hardcore.com and you can read about the entire history about Rastaman, formerly known as Navy SEAL right here in IPW, and the Cuban Assassin, a man who has made a living off of being a professional wrestler for over 20 years now. He was made famous in Puerto Rico, the Pacific Northwest, WCW, and all over the world, but he calls IPW home. And you know, you can even go to Shannon Rose's site at Pro Wrestling, what is it?
That's Pro Wrestling Daily, all one word.com.
Shannon Rose will appreciate the plug from his good friend Aaron Royal.
Yes, he does, just as he appreciates everything I do to make him look good. But unfortunately, that's my job to be a professional here. Ron, we have to make sure the fans know this was an I Quit match between Fidel Sierrra and Rastaman. Fidel Sierrra, not surprisingly, is seconded by Fantasy, but it's a little surprising who was seconding Rastaman out here, his sometimes friend, sometimes enemy, your man from 911 Incorporated, Marvelous Mike Sullivan.
Marvelous Mike Sullivan is the type of guy that somebody like Rastaman thinks he can trust for some reason. Just because of the mutual hatred that Rasta and Mike Sullivan possess for Cuban Assassin and Fantasy, he brought Mike Sullivan out to ringside, and you know something? It was probably one of the biggest mistakes in his career.
Well, we didn't want to really give that away right yet here, Ron.
Oops.
But we're going to watch these two guys going at it. They're feeling each other out a little slowly. I'm not sure why. Usually these two guys, they go right in the ring and start tearing it up, but they haven't wrestled in a little while. There have been some run-ins on Fidel Sierra's part in matches involving Rastaman, but they haven't actually wrestled here in IPW in quite some time.
Now, you listen to Cowhead on Sports Radio 1010 AM, The Team. You're talking about one of the best wrestling shows on the radio, the Steel Cage, every Saturday morning from 11 a.m. until noon. You'll hear the hardcore giant Ron Niemi. You'll hear the Cuban Assassin, and Star's down there trying to get the Cuban Assassin to say, I quit. But instead of putting a mic in his face, Star's sitting there with the mic to his mouth and singing a famous tune from the Everly Brothers.
Actually, what I think Star said was he asked him if he'd ever seen a grown man naked, and Fidel didn't know quite how to respond to that. He just gave him one of those looks like people give us when we're doing this commentary.
Now, when you look at Star Stevens, it's something like shell shock. This is like a guy from back in the old days of the war. He gets in the ring with the Cuban Assassin, and everybody knows about the history of Cuban down in Puerto Rico. It reminds Star of the horrible mud match, the unspeakable mud match between Carlos Colon, one-man gang, and Abdullah the Butcher that nobody ever speaks about, Aaron.
And I'll tell you, the most amazing thing about that match is how every single time we talk about it, the participants seem to change. That's how brutal that match was.
That's why people don't want to talk about it. You look at Cuban Assassin basically stretching Rastaman, basically working him Lou Thez style, and he puts a Jewel Strongbow Indian leg gimmick, dropped onto the knee.
I tell you, Ron Niemi, as you were telling me here earlier, you said Fidel Sierrra puts the old in old school, and we're seeing some of that old school style wrestling right here.
But you know, with Cuban Assassin, I always heard you rambling on and on about how your father used to listen to him wrestle on the radio against the greats like George Hankerschmidt, Vern Gagne, and
Frank Gotch.
See, it's you. You're the one that's always doing that. If he knew the disrespect that you were giving to him, he wouldn't put up with it.
All right, but I tell you what, Cuban and I, Fidel Sierrra, I may come out here and say whatever needs to be said, but we have a long history together. We've drank some beers together at Extra Innings at 1850 Central Avenue in St. Pete. Everything is fine between myself and Fidel Sierrra. You just got to worry about yourself.
He's the type of guy that likes to order a hot pollo sandwich. And as you know from hanging out with the Cuban for so long, pollo is Puerto Rican or Hispanic for chicken, and it has the hot sauce dripping.
Almost like hot chicken surprises.
Ah, yes, hot chicken surprises.
Wait, oh, sorry, they're telling us there's still a match going on in the ring, Ron, from the truck here.
I'm
So
getting
let's start
tired
talking
of the
about this.
truck and the producers. We'll call this match how we see it. I don't care if I want to refer him to Kenny the Sodbuster J and Rooster Griffin or Rosterman and Cuban Assassin. It's kind of like when I feel like putting in a shameless plug for Able Bodies Temporaries, which you can call at 727-771-1111. And Star Stevens...
I thought I was supposed to do that number.
That's my gimmick now, because you blow it every week, and we're
sorry.
getting so much heat from their corporate. Look at now, Fantasy's in the ring getting drenched by Rastaman, and Mike Sullivan's out there like, hey, I think he just got hit with a flag, Star, but I'm not going to tell you, because I don't like him too much, my friend.
Mike Sullivan doesn't really like either one of these guys. He claims to like Fidel Sierrra less than he likes the Rastaman. I guess we're going to see if that's true here in this match. Here's what I'm talking about. 911 Incorporated style, throwing in the towel for his own guy, costing Rastaman this very important I Quit match.
No, when I talked to Star Stevens after the match, and I said, what were you thinking when Mike Sullivan threw in the towel for Rastaman? What were you thinking? And Star looked me dead in the eye, and he said,
I was wondering what the hell the towel was doing in there, Ronnie.
Yeah, he thought it was Towley with the small funny, but it wasn't. Fans, this match is over. We'll be